In the headlines, a 1-year-old from Vieux Fort and a 13-year-old from Choiseul are among the 5 latest confirmed cases of COVID-19. The Medical and Dental Association calls for St. Lucia to join the race to acquire a COVID-19 vaccine. And the mother of a boy shot in the eye expresses her disappointment in the justice system after his alleged attacker is granted bail. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Tuesday, the 17th of November, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The Ministry of Health and Wellness continues to report a rise in COVID-19 cases. The 5 new cases have taken the island's total COVID-19 count so far to 178. Among the newest cases is an infant from Vieux Fort and a teen from Choiseul. Nisha Charles begins our reporting.
On Tuesday, November 17, the island recorded 5 new cases of COVID-19. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belma George says this brings the total number of cases in country to 178.
Case number 174 is a 1-year-old male from the Vieux Fort district. Case number 175 is a 13-year-old male from the Choiseul district. Case number 176 is a 31-year-old female from the Gros-Islet district. Case number 177 is a 54-year-old male from the Castries district. Case number 178 is a 44-year-old male from the Gros-Islet district. All of these individuals, after being assessed and tested for COVID-19, were placed in quarantine by health practitioners while awaiting receipts of their test results.
3 of these cases were identified through the contact tracing process, and an epidemiological link has been established for these 3 cases. Case number 174 is linked to cases number 109 and 165. Cases number 175 is linked to cases 109 and 163. Case number 176 is linked to case number 169. The Ministry of Health also announced that the reported critical case has recovered from COVID-19 and has been transferred to the Owen King EU Hospital for continued care. This now brings the total number of active cases currently in country to 116.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness, we once again remind everyone that we are all susceptible to the virus. However, there are persons who are at greater risk, such as the elderly and those living with chronic and underlying medical conditions. Therefore, we all have to play our part to protect the health and safety of our families, our friends, our colleagues, and our neighbors. Let us all continue to take personal responsibility and adhere to the protocols and guidelines for the prevention of the virus. Let us continue to practice the infection prevention and control guidelines that will help to reduce exposure to the virus.
All remaining active cases are stable. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
The St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association is throwing its support behind moves to get vaccines approved for use to fight COVID-19. 2 promising vaccines from Moderna and Pfizer have sparked much hope that the pandemic could soon end. The president of the SLMDA, Dr. Merle Clark, urges St. Lucia to get on the vaccination train given the announcement by St. Kitts that it has already made payments to secure vaccines.
Pfizer and partner BioNTech have developed a vaccine that data shows is 90% effective when it comes to preventing people from contracting the COVID-19 virus. A second vaccine by Moderna has shown to be 95% effective. In St. Lucia, the Medical and Dental Association has greeted such announcements with much elation and anticipation.
The reality is that anything in the armamentarium against COVID-19 right now is good news. Because, again, it's a viral infection. There have been drugs which have been shown perhaps to mitigate the effects of the virus, but nothing definitive in terms of a cure. So a vaccine, certainly, which preliminary studies show to be 90% effective, certainly is welcome news.
Commenting on news that St. Kitts has paid over $120,000 to ensure access to COVID-19 vaccines, Dr. Clark says the SLMDA believes that St. Lucia should ensure they jump on the train of securing their spot for vaccines when it becomes available to the Caribbean region. The Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, is making part payments to assist at least 4 Caribbean countries to access vaccines. However, the countries have to pay part of the cost.
We certainly would endorse any initiative whereby governments collaborate on the procurement of vaccines. I mean, this is what is done for the procurement generally of drugs in the OACS, and that has worked very well. In essence, buying in bulk allows you to purchase at a more reasonable price, and that has worked over the years very, very well for our island. So I do believe it is a very good initiative, and as members of the Pan American Health Organization, we would benefit from that, and there certainly would be advantages in purchasing as a group as opposed to individuals competing on a world stage, which is essentially what is going on at this point, not only for vaccine but for testing supplies and everything COVID related.
Clark explained that there seems to be a lot of mistrust in science, and as such, the task of convincing individuals to take the vaccine will be a challenging one.
We have to take into account the fact that a very large number of people have indicated that they would not take a vaccine if it were available, no matter where it were coming from. There is a lot of anti-science sentiment at this point, and that was even prior to COVID, because the voice of the anti-vaxxers has been very loud. This, of course, stemming from the theory, which has been debunked, so it's a fallacy, that the MMR vaccine causes autism. And the anti-vaxxers' voice is not exactly a soft one. It's a very loud voice, and there's a lot of mistrust of the scientific community for multiple reasons, not the least of which is who is the current president of the United States, not speaking necessarily favorably of science a lot of the time. So there is a lot of work to be done.
Dr. Clark says, as the fight with COVID-19 continues, the masses need to continue adhering to protocols to curb the spread of the virus. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
The mother of 9-year-old Yan Henry, who was shot in the eye on Saturday, the 3rd of October, is expressing her disappointment in the justice system after the man accused of injuring her son was granted bail. Genevieve Gonzague reports.
One gunshot, one bullet was all it took to change the lives of 9-year-old Yan Henry and his entire family forever. On Saturday, October 3rd, 2020, 9-year-old Yan Henry of Cicero Castries was shot in the eye by a family friend. The incident left young Henry blind in one eye. The 18-year-old Kyle Austin, who was charged with the maiming of the 9-year-old, was granted bail of $30,000 cash or suitable surety on Thursday, October 8th. Henry's mother, Renata Henry, has expressed outrage and says her entire family has been let down by the justice system.
I'm so disappointed in our justice system here. It's like you could do somebody something and they're going to grant you bail, you're going to be out. My son lost his eye. A bullet lodged in his eye, he still have it there. And the guy who did that to him right now there is on bail. It's like people could do what they want here and nothing for that.
Henry gave Hot 7 an update on the well-being of her son. This ordeal has left emotions running high within the Henry family as they continue to seek ways to remove the lodged bullet in the now 10-year-old's skull. She says the family is preparing to transport him overseas to find out whether the bullets can be removed.
What I can say, Yan, he is getting there, but sometimes frustrated. It's not easy for him, even me too. It's like I have a brand new Yan. I have to cope with everything he's doing. He had an appointment to go to Martinique last Friday, but we couldn't make it. But he had an appointment for the 27th. Hopefully we'll be in Martinique by then. But Yan, he's trying. He's a strong little boy and he's trying.
She says ever since the incident, the son she knew is gone and has been replaced by a completely different person. Henry says while she tried to get therapy for her son, he has not been very receptive as he dislikes reliving the trauma.
He's a little more aggressive now, like everything frustrating him. He have his good days, but sometimes when I tell somebody it's very, very bad. And even me as his mother feeling, because when I see my son crying, it hurting me as his mother. He will stand and say, oh, I have both of my eyes now, I only have one eye. And when I tell somebody, nobody knows how I'm feeling. To be in that situation, you know how it is. When it comes to counseling, he don't want to go. He will say, they always remind him, because he started, they always remind him of what happened, and he want to forget it.
She says the family is trying very hard to ensure they encourage and support him every day. However, some days are a lot more difficult than others. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
Stay with us. Still to come, the Deputy Commissioner of Police touts an overwhelming response to the call for wardens. The Prime Minister says despite his accent and skin color, he is Lucian to the bone. And the opposition SLP calls for widespread COVID-19 testing and tells the government to stop the double talk on the virus.